At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farm. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we're coming to get our check.
What's up, ADOS and our allies? Hey, good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the Central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Friends of ADOS TV channel, bringing you those ADOS hot topics and making the case for reparations in exchange for our vote this election cycle. Making the case for Democratic down ballot strategy. Yes, family, all of that. It's all about us right now. ADOS is putting in that work. ADOS is rising. And today we're going to talk about how the Democrats continue to give us their middle finger as we're in, the fight of our lives to prevent extinction in the country our ancestors built with their lives, right, family? Absolutely. What's up, Trey X ADOS? Welcome to the live. Debonair 1, welcome to the live. Lyrica is ADOS, welcome to the live. Carlos Robbins, welcome to the live. Moni Love, welcome to the live. Robin Freelix, welcome to the live, family. And for all of you who have yet to tell me where you're heralding from, welcome, one and all. File on in, start your watch parties. We got to get into the African Diaspora plan. Biden, yes. So he could tell. What's up from NYC? All right now, I see you, fam. Carlos, thank you. Yeah, Biden can sit up here. This is the hypocrisy of it all, right? This is what I've been telling you guys for, oh my God, has it been 2 years yet since I've been doing this? I think a little less. I think I started last year. But immigration is being weaponized against us, family. Okay, Don Lemon had the unmitigated gall to say in one breath, it is clearly okay for us to distinguish ourselves as ADOS. But when it came time to talk about closing the egregious racial wealth gap, he tells Cuomo, we're bots. You guys, I'm sure, saw me going off the handle on that show. I'm going to try to really keep my cool this show, family. I'm just very passionate about ADOS, and the movement tastes catnap, so I get a little incensed behind a lot of the blue checks. DL Hughley, I see you. Don Lemon, that little girlfriend show with the airhead women that don't know a thing about politics. I think Vivica Fox is on that Fox Soul show. Now, y'all see me on Fox Soul. And from my understanding, I represented ADOS well because I've been studying under Yvette Carnell. And, I at least came on there with some political wherewithal. These women want to throw Ice Cube under the bus. These are the blue checks. These are the ones who are making $1 over a quarter and want to tell us what we're entitled to and who we're entitled to speak with about our repair. We've been voting Democrats since 36, the first Roosevelt, Teddy. Yeah, you know, the one I've shared with you guys about how he dishonorably discharged 167 of our Buffalo soldiers who were wrongfully accused of murdering a white man while they were quarantined in their barracks after being accused of murdering a first white man. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so he got 71% of our vote after dishonorably discharging 167 of our Buffalo soldiers, took away their pensions, took away their ability to get government employment, public sector, took away their ability to re-enlist. And Dr. Charles Morris said, pastor of Abyssinian Church, you shot us when our guns were empty. See, he had received 71% of the vote, I do believe, at that time, the black vote, which was primarily accustomed to voting Republican. And he secured that vote. We've been voting for Democrats for a long time to be a George Floyd 846. Lots of blue checks, been very, very busy trying to tell Ice Cube what time it is. You don't have enough information. You can't speak on these things. D.L. Hughley was highly offensive to him. They've all been highly offensive to him. And I'm just proud of ADOS coming to his defense. I know I have been. I've seen many of you go hard for Ice Cube. And we're grateful to the brother because, you know, contrary to what they want to believe and say about him, he never picked up a phone. Both parties called him. And the Democrats said, you know, what they generally say to ADOS. I'm going to show you how they're not saying those same things to the other groups in just a minute. I just want to deal with this nonsense from D.L. Hughley, the little girlfriend wannabe politics celebrity show since folks are in COVID. You know, we tried to get a real serious political show over at Fox, but they chose to, you know, get Lisa Ray and Vivica Fox and the actresses over those of us that know this information, like we know our own name. They chose to bring them into a circle, and they were on there giving Ice Cube a hard time. Black Lives Matter, you know, Roland Martin, who, you know, wanted to give away all of our hard work to, I think the lady's name is Aisha Garza from Black Lives Matter. Yvette unpacked how that's a nothing burger, not for ADOS specific. We're going to get into how, you know, Biden's Lift Every Voice but ADOS African American plan has minority in there 30 times and people of color 22 times. You know, they all want to give away our class-based policies, which we know does not fix race, right? And so you've got all these blue checks out here. Black Lives Matter with a toothless nothing burger. Roland Martin, you know, he's Haitian. If you want to know why he can't get on board with ADOS, he doesn't get a check. They're not satisfied that we were their reparations. Now, he may be first generation born here. I think someone said he was born in New York. It doesn't matter to me. We've been here 8 to 10 generations. Some of us longer if we dig a little deep enough, right? So this is what you're seeing in the mass media. Joy-Ann Reid. All of these immigrants. Sheila Jackson Lee is Jamaican. You see how they are weaponizing their immigration against us. They are colluding with our oppressors for them butter biscuits. All of them are colluding because they want to keep their butter biscuits or they want a few more thrown their direction. And they're very agitated and irritated with the ADOS, right? Because we're not going to give in, we're not going to give up, we're not going to give out. The ancestors are at our back. And for Ice Cube to be from the streets, that's who the streets respect. And that's why everybody's panties are in a bunch. Diddy, who once was, withhold the vote until they give you tangibles, is now created a black political party. If you don't see grassroots in these parties, run the opposite direction because they are doing the bidding of the oppressor. If they don't have ADOS in them spaces, run the opposite direction. We're the ones putting in that work. I personally know because I get calls from all over the country and I'm collaborating all over the country to get this work done. So the rest of them are paying a lot of lip service and they'll give you some great shows. But ADOS, we moving. That's why you don't see a lot of shows out here. We got a few, but this is very time consuming. And we got tons of meetings and conference calls because let me help you understand, family. Once we get the reparations, that's just the beginning of the work ahead of us. Folks have been inboxing me, Angela, this is crap, this AB 3121. Yeah, well, we did the best we could to get changes pushed through. But that's why the movement takes catnaps. We got 3 more work groups out here to try and ensure that the language is correct and is only exclusively about ADOS in the AB 3121. Surely you guys have got to understand that just getting the governor's signature was like giving birth. Okay, we joined Dr. Weber with that. Uh-oh, what happened? Hold on, family, I don't see myself. That's not what I intended. Hold on, family, give me a second. It jumped some kind of way. Now, y'all know. Just give me a second. I see that's not what I want up here. That's not what I want. I want my face. Oh, my camera, some kind of way. And we're back, family. Forgive me. I apparently stopped the camera. But yeah, family, that was just the beginning. Understand what it takes, family. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We've got 3 work groups. 1 to give us our distinct ethnicity. The second one is to vet people to offer over to the commission for the study so that we can make sure the final product is not as botched up as the existing one. And we're fighting for affirmative action. That went away in 96. It is one of the main reasons why we're down from 16% to 6% here in population. I spoke with Shirley Huzar from Urban Game Changers. She said the immigrants here are 3%. The Black immigrants here are 3%, which gives us 9%. But they're faring exceptionally better than us. And we're going to get into that as we dig into Biden's African Diaspora plan. As folks tell us to stay in a flattening of Blackness kind of situation, which masks the failure of 90% of Black folks in this country that our ancestors built with their lives. We're not supposed to make the distinction that we are American descendants of slavery. Chattel slavery is how I refer to it, because I've been on a couple of shows and there are white people who believe their indentured servitude was also slavery, but they can never claim chattel. So when I say ADOS, I usually throw in chattel. But we built all of this and we're on the bottom as the anchor here in America with it's over 100 trillion. Over 100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap to ADOS. 90% of the Blacks in this country, or maybe a little less by now, I think we're about 86% to the immigrants 14% as the Democrats offer up 11 million more immigrants to this country, giving them a pathway to citizenship before making us American. And so for him to tell Ice Cube that he'll get back with him on that African American plan after he's elected. We saw how well that worked with Teddy Roosevelt when he got rid of those Buffalo Soldiers after he got the black vote. We saw how that did not work with Ncobra. You know, he put Mark Morial and Sharpton out in the snow when they came Johnny come lately with an agenda that more than likely was not inclusive of closing the egregious racial wealth gap akin to the ADOS movement. That's why they're upset, because, you know, the revolution is being social mediaized. What's up, Tansy? Thank you, William Dickens, for joining the live. Lily, Kunta, I love y'all black and strong. So let's get into this nonsense. I'm going to try not to scream, family. I'm going to do my best to stay poised. Namye Ho Renge Kyo. God, I can do this. Y'all know I be hotter than fish grease because they messing with my people. So type in your comments and your chats. You know me. I'm going to comment in between. Because that's just how I do. The Biden-Harris agenda for the African diaspora. The African diaspora community is one of America's most diverse communities, inclusive of people who speak multiple languages, come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and practice various faiths, me speaking. I like how they just kind of come from different socioeconomic backgrounds. They lump it all into one. When they know good and well, if you're poor, you're not if you're poor and black, you're not welcomed in this country. A lot of the Africans that come to this country are from an elite class. Read, my grandfather was a Nigerian slave trader. To understand the lineage of many of the Africans in this country, that's why they disparage you, call you a kata, all this kind of nonsense. Now, let me make a disclaimer here. I am not a xenophobe. I have friends from all walks of life, and if you're a true friend, that makes you an ally. So you truly understand why I must continue to unflatten blackness so we can be seen and we can get our checks in the trillions over multi-generations. I find myself having to do that often because a lot of my stuff gets taken out of context. Next thing you know, I hate immigrants, and that is not the case. But you're masking our failure as the decadent veil you are. You come to this country with mounds of education. You might be African born and trained and educated in London. You understand. And this is the only place we as American descendants of chattel slavery, this is our only home. Okay? We can't, where are we going? Where are we going when the rubber meets the road? So I just need you to understand that they lump in these very privileged, entitled Africans into this different socioeconomic backgrounds. Maybe in yesteryear that was the case, but many of them come from money. Many of them, especially Nigeria and the slave trading countries, they descend from slave traders. Yes. Many of them come here with a wealth position, tons of education, and they take advantage of our affirmative action. They've infiltrated our HBCUs. They're not just students. They are part of the administration. They are part of the professors. I don't even know, and I've been trying to find out how many ADOS are actually at the HBCUs, given that only 16% of us hold degrees in this country. Out of 37 million, only 16% of us are degreed. Okay? So how many of us are really at these HBCUs? Why is this information so hard to find? And the reason why that matters to you and me, family, is because it's a part of the class-based policies that don't fix ADOS. They are using our reparations. Kamala said she wants to waive all the student loan debt for the HBCUs. Well, if we're not there, that's another white wealth transfer. Now, why do you say white, Angela? They're African. Because, family, all together now, if you've been watching me for a while, the color of white in this country is altogether, ladies and gentlemen, green. I don't care if you are as dark as the night. When you have money, it makes you white in this country. When you don't, it makes you a target for government sanctioned executions. It makes you a target for COVID. It makes you a target for being anchored at the bottom in the country your ancestors built with their lives. Okay, moving on. While unique on some fronts, culturally, people of African descent also share similar values, supporting their families, creating opportunities for their communities, and contributing to America's growth and prosperity. This is me speaking. You see, people of ADOS descent are having a hard time supporting their families. I'll remind you that here in Los Angeles, ADOS is 6% of the population. We are $200 liquid, 44% of the degreed, and 6% of the private sector. To African immigrants, $60,000 liquid. Okay? But we're in those prisons. They've ensured that we get to go to jail when they're not executing us by government sanction. So, of course, you're able to support your family when you're $60,000 liquid. Creating opportunities for their communities. Me speaking, how many ADOS businesses do we have in the community? I'm just speaking about LA because these are the stats I know trippingly off the tongue. You understand? We're $8 liquid in Boston, 700 in total assets in Boston. To Caribbean immigrant, 12,000 total assets. $11 liquid in Miami. Cuba is winning down there. That's why they're voting for Trump. Okay, and contributing to America's growth and prosperity. How are we able to contribute to America's growth and prosperity when, due in large part, even those that are degreed and with masters are driving Uber? How's that? Only 10% of us are making $125,000 a year or greater. Only 10% of 100% of Afros, of Black folks in this country. Moving on. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris share these values and know that the next administration must understand what the current one does not. In America, no matter where you start in life or where your parents were born, there should be no barriers to your success and no limits to what you can achieve, except if you are an American descendant of chattel slavery. Namyeho Renge Kyo. As president and vice president, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will rebuild our country in a way that brings everyone along except American descendants of chattel slavery. Hello, Ice Cube. We'll holler at you after we're elected. Immigration. Since the 70s, since the 1970s, as Ncobra and Narc, want to give our reparations to everybody, me speaking, that's not what Biden wrote, okay? I have to preface that. And Ncobra and NARC have some initiative to pass H.R. 40 while excluding the ADOS from H.R. 40. We're fighting to fix it and to be included in the trillions over multi-generations, while NARC and Ncobra are fighting to get it signed as it stands. Look it up. They've been here since the 70s. We've been here since before 1619. We are the table that everybody eats from. Our ancestors' heinous chattel slave labor, the worst of its kind in the born world, built all the wealth these Mickey Fickies eat from. We are the legs of that table. Back to the text. Since the 1970s, the African immigrant population in the United States has roughly doubled every decade. Through employment and educational exchange programs, many African immigrant communities have flourished in the United States, building a new generation of highly educated and socially conscious Africans throughout our country. Me speaking. What employment and educational opportunities for the ADOS have there been? We are the last hired, first to be fired, underemployed, unemployed, the largest of all the groups. As far as education, we are miseducated. You can be in a public school and all your dollars, your tax-paying dollars for your real estate go right on over to the white schools in the same public school district, while your black babies are set up for preschool to prison pipeline. Not the Africans. Back to the text. Representing nearly 2 million first-generation Americans, it is one of the fastest growing immigrant groups. So for those of you who say they pose no threat, they're only 2 million. Well, when you add them with the Latinx community, with the Caribbean immigrants, with the Asian immigrants, how do you think we got more than this election cycle to be disruptive with a Democratic down ballot strategy to get these Mickey Fickies on reparations out the gate in 2024 if ADOS doesn't move and the rest of ADOS, the lineage, not join this movement and pick up bricks to disrupt these elections every election cycle until they cut our checks in the trillions over multi-generations? Do you expect immigrants who call you a kata to gain all this access in corporate with 3K's media, undermining our efforts for our reparations, to do anything concerning you? Do you think while NARC and Ncobra are trying to make sure there's no money and what little money that might make that reparations, that HR 40 study, they want to give it to the very African immigrants who are $60,000 liquid down here to ADOS 200 liquid? So y'all want to sit up here and act like immigration is not being weaponized against you by your government to replace you. You better wake up. You better wake up. This is probably the last election cycle if these Democrats win, especially if they get a trifecta. We're done. We're done. It will not matter. They will not need our votes, hence why the African Diaspora plan and Ice Cube is told, wait until after the election. I can see the pat on the head Joe Biden gave him. Representing nearly 2 million first-generation Americans. How many generations did I say we have over here? About 8 to 10, if not more. They first generation, but they're highly educated, socially conscious Africans throughout our country because they were that way before they got in this country. The poor Africans cannot get in this country. The poor Caribbeans cannot get in this country. That's only for the Latinx community, whom they want to make white to help their numbers because they can't birth no babies. As they drop abortion clinics in our communities. Yeah, over resources, over education, over jobs, over home ownership, over business ownership. We get abortion clinics, 20 million black babies aborted since 73. Their first generation, 2 million strong. The best of the best. While we are tethered to the bottom as the anchor. Y'all keep messing around with this vote, this lesser two evil two-step shuffle to your people's own peril. You will be living in shanties. Wait for it. As President Biden will immediately. Can somebody show me in the Lift Every Voice but ADOS African American plan where he intends to do anything immediately for the ADOS? He just told Ice Cube to wait till after he's elected. He will immediately do away with the Trump administration's inhumane immigration policies. See, this is where I agree with Trump. Americans first. And this is why a large portion of ADOS will be voting for Trump. These Democrats are trying to replace us with immigrants. Even white folks don't want to be replaced, and they are being replaced. Kamala's people, Asian Indian, down here in California, are $245,000 liquid to white folks, $110,000 liquid. This is why Trump will be winning this election cycle, this immigration piece. Even the immigrants don't want poor immigrants in this country. Because poor immigrants is an albatross around what they're trying to do. Like their immigration is an albatross around what we're trying to do. They understand that if you bring in more poor immigrants, that's more set-asides and more of their tax dollars having to be used to take care of them. Yeah. That's why the Latinx vote is split. Okay? As President Biden will immediately do away with the Trump administration's inhumane immigration policies, he is committed to preserving the long-standing principles of our immigration system to reunite families and enhance our diversity before making ADOS American. Keeping families together by providing a roadmap to citizenship for nearly 11 million undocumented immigrants, including dreamers. I need to go see that show I did on immigration and how it's being weaponized to replace against ADOS to make us third world in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Reversing the travel bans aimed at decreasing legal immigration to the U.S., including the Muslim travel ban, which has severely impacted Nigerian, Sudanese, Somalian, and other diaspora communities. Restoring America's historic commitment as a place of refuge for those fleeing war of persecution. Will not repair ADOS in the trillions over multi-generations when we had an $11 trillion surplus post our heinous chattel slave labor of our ancestors that has morphed into over 100 trillion that white folks share in this country. Economy. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to millions of people losing their jobs, pay, and health care, and hundreds of thousands of small businesses closing for good. Who in the world do they claim COVID impacted the most in terms of cases and deaths? Was it African immigrants who are $60,000 liquid here who have the best of health care, or would it be the ADOS, $200 liquid? I'm a unicorn. Thank you, God. I'm a unicorn. But there's very few of us here. And most of them are working within the ADOS movement to help the rest, because guess what? None of us are free until all of us are free. We're not into this self-individualism bootless strapperism. That's not what we do. We understand that to whom much is given, much is required. Those are the people you got fighting for you in this movement. Not the ones that's going to leave you behind, because we understand. No, I understand how we got here. President Trump's failed response to the pandemic has only worsened the economic crisis in our country, including in the African diaspora community. How so? How so? No numbers to back this up, no data. Less than 1% of people have died from COVID. I'm not trying to minimize its impact, but what has happened to the flu numbers? People die from the flu. People die from heart disease. Have they been conflated into these COVID numbers? And is that being weaponized against the Republicans? I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. We'll be voting green at the top of the ticket, like I did last election cycle, and the most progressive Democratic down ballot I can find, because I broke the cycle of this lesser to evil two-step shuffle to our people's peril last election cycle. This is not new for me. And this is my square until they cut that check in the trillions over multi-generations. For slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Oh yeah, this is a new normal. Get comfortable. Yes, there will be casualties. We just won't be the only ones. I sometimes have to take a breath, family. This stuff is just too much. A stronger, more effective reopening requires putting measures in place to ensure workplace safety, to restore consumer confidence, to support communities and small businesses, and to provide all Americans with the help they need to get back to work. We've lost about 50% of our businesses that'll never be returning. And he's talking about what he's doing for the African diaspora, who are 2 million to our 37 million in this country. Our plan lifts everybody but us, with no specific timelines. Pandering. What small businesses? Ours have shut down indefinitely. Biden believes this is the moment to imagine and build a new American economy for our families and for the next generation. His Build Back Better plan, Build Back Better plan, will mobilize American manufacturing and innovation, creating millions of good-paying union jobs, build the modern infrastructure and an equitable, clean energy future to meet the climate crisis, build a 21st century caregiving and education workforce, making it far easier to afford child care and to ensure aging relatives and people with disabilities have better access to home and community-based care, advance racial equity, closing the racial wealth gap by expanding affordable housing, investing in Black, here we go, Latino, and Native American entrepreneurs and communities, advancing policing and criminal justice reform, and making real the promise of educational opportunity regardless of race or zip code. Doesn't that sound like our reparations being used to lift up everybody but ADOS? Didn't we tell you Black is a curse word to ADOS now? African American, hello Obama, Kenyan and white. On his white side, I just learned that he is a relative of Dick Cheney and Bush. On his white hand side. Descends from slave owners. It's no wonder why we got nothing from him. He ain't us. He ain't ADOS. In this election cycle, I pray we are able to show them that lineage matters. Yeah, so advancing policing and criminal justice reform, if you're not doing away with private prisons and qualified immunity, This is not African or any immigrants' monkey or circus. I would say it would be some of the Hispanics' issue as brown people, but not nearly in the numbers that it is our issue. As you heard him recently say, shoot him in the leg. Not qualified immunity, not coming to our communities with all this nonsense. Don't shoot to kill him. Shoot him in the leg. $300 million more to the race soldiers in our communities. Africans ain't in these communities where we're getting executed by government sanction. They $60,000 liquid down here. They don't live where the police are, trolling black folks to see who they gonna murder next. That's not where they live. They live amongst white folks. They live quite well, being 60,000 liquid. Their salaries are in the hundreds of thousands. ADOS, median income, 50,000 down here. Look it up, Color of Wealth LA. I'm not making stuff up. Update the social contract, and this is much shorter than the Lift Every Voice African-American plan, but ADOS, okay? That's my part, but ADOS as the exception. That, when I copy and pasted it, that was 30 pages. Full of minority and people of color, which means nothing's coming to us. A handful of us may get a crumb, and there's no money tied to that. But this is what they're doing with our reparations, making sure they stick in all these class-based policies, more white wealth transfers. Because as I mentioned prior, the color of white in this country is green. And being poor makes you a target. Update the social contract that treats American workers as essential at all times, not just times of crisis, with higher wages, stronger benefits, and fair and safe workplaces. They're not struggling with salaries. They pretty much play every ADOS role in media and in television and film, passing off as American descendants of chattel slavery. Shout out to Netflix, Denzel Washington, Viola Davis, the late, great Chadwick Boseman. Finally, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom with an ADOS cast, at least in the leading roles. They have monopolized across industries as Kamala Harris talks about not doing anything specifically for ADOS. But she sure got them H-1B visas ready for her Brahmin East Indian cast to come over here for more tech jobs. But some of you, ADOS the lineage, want us to continue to do this lesser two evil, two-step shuffle to our people's own peril, because you don't know politics. Some of you ADOS the lineage, hello, blue checks, want to drag Ice Cube. Want to drag him for fighting for ADOS, whom he is, whom many of you blue checks are. Because y'all like seeing us stuck at the bottom, because guess what? Capitalism needs a bottom. And it was decided long ago, before the country was even formed, that we were going to be it. And all the legislation, the deck has been stacked against us. You don't see black on black crimes and murder because we just enjoyed the sport of murdering each other. That wasn't happening when I was growing up. And my boomer parents had manufacturing jobs that paid an American wage, $15 an hour. You can't do much with that throughout the country. The cost of living is too high. So with affirmative action serving ADOS at the time of the boomers, of course they're sitting pretty and they just want us to go out here and vote for Biden and Kamala. Because they're on the second half. They're not giving two hoots about what they are leaving to the Gen Xers, which I'm one. I bought a boomer, so I'm on my second half. And I'm fighting for the younger Gen Xers and the millennials in my daughter's group, Gen Z. This is my square until they cut that check. This is the ADOS square until they cut that check. This is our second job. And we need more of you in this fight. And we need more of you ringing the alarm, not dragging Ice Cube for doing what he should be doing. Because none of you geniuses who are dragging Ice Cube have shared with me your plans on how you intend to close a over $100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap. Where's those plans? While you guys insist on ADOS using the only commodity we've got, our vote, to unseat Trump. Not fight for reparations in the Black agenda in exchange for our vote. Unseat Trump because he's mean and he's a racist. Oh, the horror. And oh, it was so long ago. 94, when Joe Biden wrote the 94 crime bill. And a lot of Black folks signed on for that. Why are you just mad with him? Forgive it. Forget it. Let it pass you by. As our babies are laden with student loan debt in the hundreds of thousands, some of them, and can't find work commensurate with their student loan debts. I saw Biden on a town hall, educated, beautiful senior, got up there, that beautiful Black brother, got up there and asked that rambling ass Biden, what did he intend to do to make us feel secure in our own country? And he starts, on all the fronts, I'm paraphrasing. He went on a tangent about education. What difference does it make when education doesn't close a $100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap? You can have as much as a PhD. What difference does it make if you can't get a job in the private sector commensurate with your education? All you got is a bunch of debt and gig jobs. That's all you got. Gig jobs to try to pay off that debt. Or you stay in school to furlough the debt until they come up with a way to erase the debt. That's how he answered this beautiful brother. Rambling. I mean, it was to the point where the host of the show asked the brother, did he have enough? He said, yeah, I guess so. Did that satisfy you? To stop Biden from rambling. I'm telling you, these Democrats are setting it up for 12 years. You talking Armageddon. Because ain't nobody Black giving no money to Kamala unless they blue check. Those are all Hillary Clinton's people backing her. She couldn't win it forthright. She was running fourth in her own state of California. Okay? So her and Biden have been hand delivered to us. We didn't want either of them. But that's how they want us to use our vote. Not the ADOS movement. No. Update the social contract that threats American workers as did that one. Help small business and entrepreneurs, the backbone of our country, come out the other side of this crisis strong with increased access to capital. How are you going to do that? When 50% of... Oh, that's right. This is for the Africans. I'm sure they got the PPP, as we did not. Education. The African diaspora community understands education is a path to employment and economic security. Not for ADOS. I know people with master's degrees driving Uber. When I was initially laid off due to COVID and unemployment didn't have a space for us to collect not just the unemployment business benefits from the state, but the federal, that extra 600 stimulus, I too had to get out here and do a gig job. Instacart. Yeah. Because our salaries have been suppressed down here. And, oh, by the way, my mortgage holder told me, we'll furlough you. Sure. We'll give you 3 months. We'll give you 3 months. You don't have to pay the mortgage. But after those 3 months, you need to give us 3 months. You need to catch it all up in a balloon payment. So for those of you who sit up here and say, oh, to forget about reparations, go and pull yourself up by your bootless straps. How are we 37 million strong if we haven't been doing that? And how is anybody laying in the cut willing to lose their only asset, their home, okay, and not get out here and make things happen? Because that's what we do. We got to feed our children. That's what we've been doing. But we got here due to institutional systemic racism. And the Democrats now pandering to the Republican vote, and the immigrant vote is being weaponized against us to keep us oppressed on the bottom, because capitalism needs a bottom. Joe Biden is proposing a comprehensive plan to invest in children's education from birth through 12th grade, as well as for educating and training Americans beyond high school, as President Biden will support our educators by giving them the pay and respect they deserve, ensure the zip code, income, race, or disability does not determine any child's future or ability to attend college or university by eliminating funding gaps, providing universal preschool to all 3 and 4-year-olds, and investing resources to help students grow into physically and emotionally healthy adults, provide access to affordable education and training beyond high school, tackle unmanageable student loan debt, and support colleges and universities that play unique and vital roles in their communities, including historically Black college and universities and minority serving institutions. Oh, in their whole Diaspora plan, that's the first time I've read minority. 30 minorities in our plan, 22 people of color, what's the word? 22 people of color directives and 30 minority directives in the Lift Every Voice African American plan. One time in the African Diaspora plan, when these are the people that can afford private education for their children. 2 million first generation. Healthcare workers, members of the African diaspora, have bravely stood on the front lines fighting against COVID-19. Many are the doctors and nurses who have been treating the infected and compassionate nursing home staff who have been caring for the elderly. Biden's plan will. This is the last page, and I'll read us out. Ensure all frontline workers receive appropriate personal protective equipment and appropriate training to use it in COVID-19 testing based upon their risk of exposure to the virus. Establish and enforce health and safety standards for workplaces. Ensure every person has access to free COVID-19 testing, treatment, preventative services, and vaccines when they become available. I'm never doing a vaccine. I don't get flu shots. I don't trust this government. Can you say Tuskegee experiment? Can you say swine flu? Me nor my daughter will be getting vaccinated. We'll take our chances with the God within us as our perfect health. Accelerate the testing and deployment of innovative solutions that improve quality of care and increase wages for low-wage healthcare workers. Been away to farm to 2 million first-generation Africans, over making us whole. Going over there and take a peek to all the goodies all the other groups are getting immediately day one or the first 100 days, except the American descendants of chattel slavery. U.S. Africa policy. Biden will bring to the presidency decades of foreign policy experience and a demonstrated commitment to Africa. He will renew the United States' mutually respectful engagement toward Africa with a bold strategy that affirms our commitment to supporting democratic institutions on the continent, advancing lasting peace and security, promoting economic growth, trade and investment, and supporting sustainable development. Biden will advance these objectives by, these are the last 4 points, asserting America's commitment to share prosperity, peace and security, democracy, and governance as foundational principles of U.S.-Africa engagement, restoring and reinvigorating diplomatic relations with African governments and regional institutions, including the African Union, ensuring the U.S. government and U.S. Foreign Service reflect the rich composition of the American citizenry, including African diaspora professionals, continuing the Young African Leaders Initiative and deepening America's commitment to engage with Africa's dynamic young leaders. Let me come on back over and see what y'all got to say to all this. Do Jesus. Anywho, let me look up and see what my family is saying before I read to y'all. Welcome to the live, Denise Jarrett, expert stylist. Kunta says Roland isn't ADOS. He's absolutely right. He's Haitian. Kunta, let me know if he was born in America, though. Sometimes, like Kamala, she was born here, even though her family is Brahmin East Indian on her mother's side and Jamaican Indian on her father's side. The mental Taj Marie, welcome to the live, my love. The mental gymnastic was mind-blowing. And when they couldn't prove that Ice Cube chose Trump over Biden for his plan, they started claiming bias against Black women in his plan. They'll grab at anything, family, to disparage and ensure that we stay tethered at the bottom. That's why we've got to support Ice Cube in everything. And let that ADOS hive, let them have it, family. Let them have it. Give them the blues. Come for all of them, all they throats. Help our brother, because all of it is a lie. They came to him and he was not a part of that platinum plan like they keep accusing him of being a partner to. Taj Marie says the Lift Every Voice plan starts with this long-winded summary of ADOS issues. However, when you read the initiative, they use people of color and women throughout. Absolutely do. Oh, they're great at running down our history and all the maladies while doing nothing about it and telling you to your face they don't intend to do anything about making you whole through reparations and a Black agenda in exchange for the vote. Nothing fundamentally will change for you. But read the others and you'll see they're getting busy immediately because they're using immigration to make us third world in this country. Moni Love says they are all coming out loud to attack Brother Ice Cube and ADOS. Oh, yes. How dare we become self-interested? How dare we knock everyone else off the tit and love on ADOS? How do we say that we're ADOS and we're ADOS proud? How dare we stick reparations in their faces to remind them of their evils? How dare we want the ethnicity and the extinction as American descendant of chattel slavery to remind them of what they've done to us as a people in this country and continue to do. So of course they're going to drag us, call us bots, and do all manner of things. Hence my show and all the other shows that have lined up to help ADOS understand. Because the sad truth is, lots of ADOS and Black immigrants are signing up to disparage us. Call us xenophobes, Russian bots, Trump supporters. That's called COINTELPRO, because the revolution is being social mediaized. You're right, Moni Love. Yes, Moni Love. Biden has an African diaspora plan. I need to copy and paste that link. Hold on one second. So you guys can check this out for yourself when you get time. Okay. William Dickens, I love you, Black and Strong, Triangle ADOS, Twin City ADOS. Keep doing the work, sis. Thank you, my love. Tanzania Flakes. Yes, my love. This is one of my partners in crime, one of my comrade. William Dickens is my comrade. Anybody in this movement is my comrade. We're the one doing all the heavy lifting. Lily, welcome to the live. Judge Joe Brown explains why the backlash against Ice Cube comes from those who are offended by Black men taking roles in leadership. Oh, yeah. He put the link there. Thank you, Lily. Oh, yeah. They're trying to really undermine and they're pissed because a lot of Black men are going the way of Trump for this very reason of what the Democrats are doing in complicity with Black women. Not this Black women. I love our Black men, as do the ADOS women in this movement. We love our men. We stand by our men. We are here, ride or die for our men and our babies. We're not about this Black feminine thing that they got going on. White women don't give a damn about Black women, only in as much as they can use you. So we understand the systems that are in place to undermine us as Black love and Black family. ADOS love and ADOS family. We understand what's going on out here in these streets, so thank you for sharing that link. Lena says, so what's up with the Ncobra pushback? Is there any truth to it when it comes to a federal commission? I would like breakdown of the counterpoints. Perhaps I'll bring Arthur Ward on, Felina, to do that show with me. Basically, the HR 40 as it stands has no teeth in it. It's 30 years old. Sheila Jackson Lee did some updates in 2016. You guys need to check it out and read it. But there's nothing in there for ADOS. It basically is all Black and just kind of like trinkets, like the CARICOM. CARICOM has no money in it. So they're trying to attach the Caribbean and Africans, all Blacks, make it an all Black thing, because many of the Caribbean immigrants suffered through Jim Crow, but that's not our monkey or our circus. They chose to flee whatever they fled to come here. So we don't owe them reparations for that. We're happy to give a Black agenda. They can partake in that, but we don't owe them reparations for that. Just like I can't go to the Caribbean and collect CARICOM. Like I said, there's no money in it. So the ADOS is coming for trillions over multi-generations. That's what they're trying to stop and hurrying up to get the current HR 40 passed. If there's any money, it's very, very little. You may get a check for $5, but it's to repair everyone, not just the ones who built all the wealth that everybody else eats from. We are the reparations for all the immigrants and the white folks. We're the only ones that are owed that check in the trillions over multi-generations. So I'll make sure I do a show around that, Tansy. Oh, gravity is fake. You're a captivating speaker. Oh, God bless you for that. I was born to talk, my darling. Yes, I was, and I love us Black and strong. And, you know, this is the way God told me. God moves on each of us, the God in us, okay? I ain't talking about some white Neptune-looking cat in the sky. I'm talking about the God that is you and me, okay? The one that animates our bodies, the one that is our heartbeat, the one that, you know, enables us to breathe and see and hear. That's God working within you. You know, that thing that you don't have to do anything to turn it on. The God in me said, use your voice, Angela, for your people. I ran from this for a long time because, as my daughter said, it's a highly, you know, it can get you in a lot of trouble when you speak up for ADOS. So I just tried to stay in my corner and just be successful within my own right, as many of us in this movement have. And then lo and behold, when it comes for you, when the racism comes for you and it becomes personal, you come to realize that the success God affords you is not your own. So I thank you for that compliment. Carlos Robbins, as a collective, we've done more for immigrants than they've ever done for us, with few individual exceptions. You better know it. We are their reparations. I bet you have a degree. Yes, I'm blessed to have a degree. I'm blessed. Blessed. And I'm fighting for degrees in higher education for ADOS and businesses for ADOS, home ownership for ADOS. Okay, top of the line salaries, top of the line everything, because we are long overdue. Kunta says, very true. I recall my freshman year at Howard at an HBCU. Most of the professors were non-ADOS. Oh yeah, we've been replaced everywhere. As they want to give, waive all the student loan debt when we're not over there. We can't afford to be. When immigrants are coming over here with much more entitlements and able to claim our entitlements, right? Those sound like values shared by many ethnicities. Gravity is fake. I don't know what you're referring to, but yeah, we have a lot of values. But I think you might be referring to the portion in the Biden plan where I spoke about things we have in common. What I'm speaking to is being poor makes you a target. It makes you a target amongst your own people in your communities when you can't afford to get out. Folks are like, leave California with what and go where with what? If you're $200 liquid, where are you going? How can you afford to leave? So I'm speaking of, we share these values, but when institutional systemic racism tethers you to the bottom as a bottom caste, how can you be about your family? Black men don't want to come home and can't provide for their family. And they're the ones that are most unemployed. They got the highest numbers in this country of unemployment. It's not that they don't want to work. They literally stop looking for work. And so you may want to say, well, go and start your own business with what? If you're $200 liquid in LA and $8 liquid in Boston and $11 liquid in Miami, what are you starting your businesses with? What capital? So that's what I mean. We share these values, but it makes it hard on ADOS when we are a target for government-sanctioned executions by the race soldiers. And we're dying disproportionate from COVID and have the most disproportionate number of cases because we lack health care. When you don't have health care, they send you home until you can't breathe. By the time you can't breathe, COVID has wrecked the body. You're on your way out. They got a toe tag and a refrigerator truck waiting on you. Hi, Amet Can 19. Patrick's time. Welcome to the live. Biden authored the racist 94 crime bill that Harris used to jail thousands of Black Americans. You're absolutely right, Patrick's time. You're absolutely right. And now ADOS, the lineage, wants us to forget that as if it's not still ongoing. He wants to give the race soldiers $300 million more, not bring resources into our communities, right? He ain't talking about making education fair in our communities. That was the African Diaspora plan that I just read to you. And our Lift Every Voice But ADOS African American plan is, like I said, got minorities and people of color all throughout. That means nothing for ADOS because our affirmative action benefits white women, immigrants, LGBTQ, and if there's anything left, us. Gravity is fake. Thank you. I wish I could work that fair for you so you wouldn't have to. Thank you, my family. I appreciate that. It's hot down here in SoCal. And well, it actually was cooler today, but inside the house, I live on the second level. It's hot. Let's see here. Kunta says the 13th Amendment legalized slavery. And that's called the private prison industrial complex with close to 1 million of our Black men incarcerated, many in there for low-level offenses if they did it at all. They've been targeted, can't afford bail, can't afford proper representation, in there for low-level offenses. Oh, yeah. 13th Amendment. We went from being emancipated from slavery to the new slavery called sharecropping. If you refuse to sharecrop to your death, okay, because sharecropping was a debt that you were never supposed to live to get out of. If you refuse that, they put you in jail and lease you out through convict leasing to the same slave owners you refused to sharecrop for in the red. Okay, everything costs you significantly more than what you were taking in, so you were never supposed to work off the debt. You were just supposed to die. Okay, and so that's morphed into what you see today. Brothers in jail for peddling weed, while the weed shops are dropped in our communities like the abortion clinics for white folks to own, right? And then they go back to their neighborhoods and come and buy from your hood. But you can't own it. Ex-felons who were in there for marijuana, those who are fortunate enough to be out, can't participate in ownership. Bring us all the failure. J.P. Williams, welcome to the live. Democrats should pay reparations if we've been voting for them since the early 1900s. You're right, Patrick Stein. Why is it important to associate the word chattel with slavery? Slavery is horrific on its own. Yes, gravity is fake. Because lots of white people who were indentured servants here believe that they are descendants of American slavery too. I've been on shows with them. So chattel, it puts a gate up. I refer to us as chattel. The movement just says American descendants of slavery. I believe we need that distinction or, something to that effect to put a gate up, because I can see this turning into a $5 ADOS situation, like we got the $5 Indians capitalizing on Indian repair, while the Black Cherokee and the Black Seminole Indians don't get a dime. They're still waiting to be repaired, and it's written into the Constitution that they are to receive repair. But the Indians sold their repair to white folks for $5, and they're still struggling. So for me, chattel gives us that distinction, not to be confused with indentured servitude, like white folks try to do. Because everybody is coming for reparations now. Everybody's rising up since the ADOS rose up. Understand that HR 40 was collecting dust before the ADOS got busy in social media. Okay? So that's why I say chattel. What's up, Erie Blackfire? B1. I love B1, BFA, B1, BF1, Urban Game Changers, Republicans, Green Party, Libertarians. This ain't none of that. This is ADOS. We all bleed. American descendant of chattel slavery, no matter what you call yourself. And I love that you guys come and support me on this show. Spread the word. Bell Shuckles, thank you for joining the live. Sniff Dog and Lady Game, I don't know what that means. Melina put in here, Ncobraonline.org, reparations is on the ballot, don't be fooled. Uh-oh. Reparations, Felina, you got to unpack that, sis. Stop acting like victims. Oh, Bell Shuckles. Nobody's a victim. You must not be ADOS. Usually it's, non-ADOS that is hating on us getting our reparations. But nobody's a victim, darling. Slavery, reparations is a debt, darling. It's not welfare or a handout. Institutional systemic racism is what has oppressed us. And we are owed. Ain't nobody a victim. I'm doing quite well for myself. But far too many of us are not. That's the problem. And it's not by their own hand that they are not doing well. It is by design of institutional systemic racism. She's racist against African Americans. Patrick's time. Who? I'm not a racist. I can't afford to be racist. Racists run all the wealth and run everything that's going on in the country. That's our white oppressors, and far too many of our immigrants, especially those that are, that are white by their money. But I'm not racist. I can't afford to be. But I'm very much about ADOS first, second, and third. Don't get it twisted. I'm on my square. I'm fighting for my people, my collective, the way the rest of you do. I don't hear Latinx fighting for reparations. I don't hear Africans fighting for reparations. I don't hear Caribbeans fighting for our reparations. I don't hear white folks fighting for our reparations. I'm sure we got a few allies sprinkled in here and there. But y'all fighting for y'all's bag. Y'all not fighting for us to be made whole while you eat off the table that we built in this country with our lives. I'm unapologetically ADOS. So if you come here for this to be a kumbaya and put y'all back on the tit, it's a done deal. I'm not crying for nobody but ADOS. Felina says, very easy to topple their pushback because many in their ranks is pro-Democrat, pro-Biden to get H.R. 40 passed because only the Democrats can do it. Nonsense. The only way ADOS has a chance to set the record straight is to go to the left of Biden. Vote Green 2020. I will be voting Green 2020. The Green has reparations on their platform, and they're willing to sit and talk to ADOS on how to strengthen that. Why reinvent the wheel? They've been at it for about 20 years now. I say that needs to be a place we need to seriously vet as a new party for ADOS. But I was on my square last election cycle. I will be voting Green. So a lot of the Africans come here have a doctoral degree unless they are here to study. Absolutely. That's what I mean. There's an elitism that comes with that. Okay? And then they come over here and can claim African American and get more of our affirmative action that was meant to make us whole. I don't see any of them turning that down, no matter how wealthy they are. Sophia Nicole Martinez, welcome to the live. Mr. Drug War is responsible for the immigration problem in the first place. You got that right. Very true. VVSX, truly blessed. Thank you for joining the live. Kunta, Biden was with President Clinton when he sent our jobs overseas with NAFTA, I think you're talking about. Absolutely. Absolutely. He was. Jill Dropper, what's up? Thank you for joining the live. Hitler is Obama's great-grandfather. Believable. Believable. Kunta says Harris needs to be, okay, I don't know what that means. Gibson Eugene, thank you for joining the live. Casey from AC, thank you for joining the live. That's the problem with us. Criticize the Dems as bad and Repubs are, I don't know what that means. Okay, well, let me help you understand something. We've been voting blue, no matter who, for 84 years in this country, and we are at George Floyd 846. So yes, there's much criticism for the Democrats. I don't vote Republican. That ain't my monkey, not my circus. You can go on several shows and drag Trump and the crew. I said I agree with Trump about protecting these borders and not allowing a floodgate of immigration to come in here and further oppress ADOS. Because our black men are having a hard time finding employment because of immigration, which means they can't get married. They can't have babies. Many of them have to live with their parents. So, no, I don't feel the need to drag the Republicans. I'm sure somebody else's show is doing that. I'm dragging the party that I've supported since 18. I broke that cycle after Obama. I'm woke now. Kunta, let Biden get in office and he will trump President Trump. You better believe it. And if we allow Biden to get into office, we're going to get worse than Trump the next time around. Wait for it. Armageddon's going to happen anyway. You're so wrong, sister. Who is really supporting ADOS? Ooh, where you been? We're all over the news. Good, bad, or indifferent. Lots of people supporting ADOS. We're going to find out after November 3rd how many people heard us. Travis Johnson, oh, what's up, fam? Ida B. Wells 2.0 for president. Then I couldn't talk that talk, my brother. I like telling the truth. When you're in politics, you got to be a liar. I'm multiracial, but I feel obligated to. This is Sophia Nicole Martinez. Thank you for joining the live. I'm multiracial, but I feel obligated to serve and fight for the rights of my people and my ancestors. I don't want any benefits, but I want to leverage whatever privilege I have in order to help and spread the truth. Spoken like a true ally. You're welcome here anytime, Sophia. Thank you. Travis, we've been pulling ourselves up and still doing it in 2020. You got that right. Teresa Moses, welcome to the live, my love. Yes, yes, yes. I'm almost done with the comments, and then I can, oh, Lord, we going over, y'all. It is what it is. But I got it. My family hasn't gotten any love the last couple of shows because I'm always going over. I'll get through the short read though quickly. You can't start a business with no capital. You're absolutely right, brother Johnson. I jumped too far. I gotta go back. This is my co-host. Until I can get my phone's working, I'm not technologically advanced. I have to work on that, family, because I want to hear your voices on the phone. I really, really do. Okay. Ooh, y'all been really busy chatting, and I love it. I'm here for it. I'm gonna get through your comments because I haven't done it in a while. Lee was born here. Let me check on Roland. Sheila Jackson Lee was born here, but her parents are of Jamaican descent. Support Ice Cube and whoever is with him. That's the ADOS movement. Absolutely. Maya Fowler. It's heavy, sis. I know. It is, my love. I do have to take a breath sometime. That's why I only come on 3 days a week. I might even draw back on that because I have a lot of work to do with the ADOS movement locally and nationally. So I may draw down after the elections, but right now it's full court press. Roland Martin was born in Texas. Okay, thank you for that clarification. Travis, voting is one day. Racism against ADOS has been 5 centuries. You better understand it, my brother. Cut my check. I hear you, Maya. We working on it. Travis, blank Don Lemon, Fruity Booties. Okay, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I didn't mean to read that. Let me read it and then I'll say it because Travis, please be nice. We have all kinds in ADOS and we can't disparage them even though they disparage us. Let's take the high road. Valerie Kelly, well, thank you, my love, for joining the live. Well, sounds like we've got work to do. None of this should be surprising if you kept up with the rhetoric they were using with regard to gaining the support of Florida's West Indian communities when they saw that the Cuban community still is backing Trump. No matter who is in the seat, we have to get that strategy together. You better know it, my love. FreeMarvinGuy.com, okay? That's Travis and them are working on an initiative, FreeMarvinGuy.com. Please visit that site. Erie Blackfire, thank you. Travis, Tansy, Travelisa Flakes, Harriet Tubman 2.0. I'm out of B. Wells. She's Harriet Tubman. I love it. I love it. For a compliment. Maya says, we will be the battle axe to break the Democratic Party backs. We must do it. It's on the woke boomers, the woke Gen Xers, the woke millennials. We must do it. P. Burley, welcome to the line. Travis says, those black men ain't us who voting for Trump. No, ADOS is not voting for Trump, but we not getting in the way. Those black men, okay, Maya says, can you say Amanda Seals? Hello. Yeah, she's getting in the way of reparations. All of those bootlicks, all of them. You got that right. Travis, the real black men are fighting for our black communities in the streets. Voting out of fear isn't a black agenda. You better know it. We are gods ourselves. Yes, we are. Breathe life into you. Look up Genesis 1:26. You're made in that image likeness. You better ask somebody. They don't like you to know that, but I tell it to you every show, right? As a reminder. I need you to understand how powerful you are. And yes, we've been pulling ourselves up by our bootless straps. We will continue to do so, but it's not pull yourself up by your bootless straps or fight for reparations. It's both and. Okay? Frida Gillespie, thank you for joining the live. That's right. Use your voice, sister. Thank you, my love. When you speak up for Black America, it is always a problem, especially if it's ADOS. They're okay with you flattening blackness, but don't speak up for ADOS. God forbid we wake up. ADOS is rising, and it's got a whole election cycle disrupted. And I'm here for it, honey. Join the revolution in Black America today. Black power. Travis Johnson, absolutely. Frida. All right. Being mentally enslaved makes you a target also. Oh, yeah. You're the easiest target. Y'all better get on this miseducation of ADOS in America with 3 Ks book club series. Yvette Carnell, Breaking Brown, has a wonderful book club series. You get to read with all this brilliance in the chat right now. Yeah, we read these books. We understand who we are down to our baby toe. And when you know it like that, you can speak up about that. When somebody thrusts a microphone in your face, you can be on your square. Say it loud. I'm ADOS and I'm proud. Yes. You can't start a business with no capital. You're right. And white folks ain't trying to give it up. No. They weren't trying to give us our emancipation. I've reminded you from the book Presidential that I'll be reading from tonight. 500 slaves escaped slavery to storm the Union camps to force Abraham Lincoln to give us our emancipation. That wasn't anything he did out of the kindness of his heart. That was the ancestors. Okay. Can you imagine escaping slavery to get to the Union camps to demand your emancipation? So, turn down for what? We in this. Because even if we don't, let's say we don't get it. Do you know how much further along this movement will have pushed this so that our children can get it? And you don't think my daughter is absorbing this in the bedroom right now? Shout out to Be the Power. They've got a youth advocacy group that comes on Sundays. Y'all need to check that out. And donate. They need books. I made a donation. I'm here to tell you, these babies that are in our sphere of influence, she ain't even got to be out here in my mouth so loud. She can run down the entire show. And she and her friends are talking Black politics, ADOS politics. They're talking this stuff, so it is our job to do unlike the boomers. They got their affirmative action and got comfortable with their pensions and their home ownership. And they out here voting Biden against the will of the ones that are going to be left behind them. Not me. Not me. Because I understand that if we don't do something to close this egregious racial wealth gap, our children are done. They will be living in shanties in the country of their ancestors. We were here before America was even formed. Ain't no victim. It's a death that's owed. Unapologetically, I'm fighting for it. With every show, with every heartbeat, I'm fighting for ADOS, even in my sleep. Do I have bags? But when we were slaves, we 100% employed. Yeah. The ones that they spread the rhetoric that are lazy. You know, we've been lazy since we stopped working for free. Travis Johnson, Blue Lives Matter, the Blue Klux Klan. I got to do more research. I'm going to do that show. Maya file a corporatized murder. Hi, Assam Powell. I love you, family. Welcome to the live. You know it's me just running my mouth. Folks who like to hear me run my mouth. I love y'all for loving to see me run my mouth. Justin Mathis. Peace, family. Welcome to the live, my love. Everybody wants our reparations. Yeah, you better know it. Shauna Kim, welcome to the live, my love from the Bay. Well-documented debt owed, period. The end of story. And you can't shame us with calling us bots or Trump supporters or, you know, what else? Victims. Oh, please. This fight is so much harder than these little rocks or pebbles off the backs of ADOS. We don't give a damn, really, we don't. We're going to still be in this fight. You can't shame us into not fighting for the ADOS. That's never going to happen. We have found our tribe all over the country. Many of you beauties, I've yet to even, see your beautiful faces live. Okay? But I'm going to, because I'll be at that next conference for sure to hug on every last one of you. Travis Johnson, yep. We are survivors, Maya. You got that right. Black Dollars University. I know that's my Mike Michelson. Wait, that's Travis. Travis, you came in as... Travis, what you doing? Black Dollars University, visit Travis Johnson over there. He's out of Texas. Tell them trolls. Taj Marie, I voted early. Green on top, a Democratic down ballot. Asan, very good, my love. Thank you. That's two that I've heard from. Winning. I'm claiming that as a win. Asan, HR 40 is trash without the 6 edits from Dr. Darity. Yes, indeed. Without those edits, it is garbage. And we're fighting for that, and we've got strategy, and we are always at work. Asan is a genius out of the DMV, and yeah, we're taking orders from her and putting some things together. Stay tuned. Stephen Boykin, I hope I said Stefan. Okay, because no. Did I say Shauna Kim? Shanna Kim. Shanna. She got me all the way together on that, y'all, over the phone. Shanna, I stand corrected. That's a bad habit. Stefan, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Boykin. There's a difference, black, white, being racist and prejudiced. We can't be racist. We don't have the power to do so. Know the difference, absolutely. And I'm not even prejudiced. I told you before, I love everybody. I've got people in my life from all walks of life. But I don't like for everyone to be able to come up at the expense of ADOS, who built all the wealth you benefit from. You can't come up at the expense of our oppression. That's not how any of this works. So I love allies, no matter what walk of life you come from. But an ally understands why I have to put a gate up for ADOS. That's clear to allies. Dr. Gibson, welcome to the live Triangle ADOS. I just love me some Dr. Gibson. Hello, everyone. One of the things this is her speaking, to be mentioned is that affirmative action, although not reparations for college scholarships and HBCUs, were established for ADOS as a marginalized group. So when you have Black immigrants among the wealthy but oppressive caste who use such opportunities, it defeats the purpose of such initiatives. The very brilliant, beautiful Dr. Gibson has spoken. HR 40 is trash without this. Okay, we did that. Satra Del Rey 360, thank you for joining the live. 35 million Blacks, 56 million Hispanics. Our vote will not count in the next 4 years if Biden wins. Did you hear? Let me just put that up for a minute. Shanna, my love. See, I got it right that time. Speaking the truth about the elite Dem system and the use of the Black American ADOS blind vote does not mean we're automatically for a Republican or even 45. Thank you for that clarification. Sheila is first generation in this country. No wonder why she don't want any teeth in the reparations bill. Why in the world would Conyers, to my knowledge, he was ADOS. Is he still living? So put in the chat. Why would he give it to a Black immigrant? Lots of Black immigrants have overtaken the CBC. It's a problem, family. Okay. Dorothy Nichols, thank you for joining the live, my love. I'm in that book club too. Yes, thank you, family. Debonair 1, teaching ADOS history must be mandated in American curriculum and immigration naturalization. Absolutely. Maybe they'll put some respect on our lineage. Yolanda Niels, thank you, my love, for joining the live. Dorothy Nichols says, Joyce Johnson, Cleo Johnson, Reggie Johnson, listen to this. Thank you for sharing, family. Share, share, share. Share, share, share. Oh, visit me at YouTube. Facebook likes to put a sister in jail. I go to jail a lot, y'all. Please go over to YouTube. Friends of ADOS TV. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share, share, share. Lots of archives in both Facebook and YouTube. But just make sure you secure, how you can find me, because the struggle is real when you're telling the truth. Debonair 1, Don Lemon, living comfortably like a lime in vodka. You better know it, darling. You better know that. Smokey Bronson, how you doing, baby? Good to see you. Welcome to the live. Travis, I support all your platforms. Oh, God bless you for that. All the rest of y'all need to, too. so it can grow. Don't y'all want other people to know this awesome information? I get dressed and dolled up for y'all because I love to be cute. Oh, child. My mama, I got it bad from her, honey. I loves being cute. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So don't y'all want them to get all this rich information from someone that's a little easy on the eyes and can spew this data and spew this information and teach you your history and teach you about the God in you? So share. Don't hog it all for yourself. I get dressed for y'all. I have to think about what colors I'm going to wear, what earrings I'm going to wear. Yes, because that matters to me. Looking good matters to me. I don't apologize for that. I think that matters to ADOS, period. We some beautiful people. Ooh, y'all some pretty people. That melanin popping. I mean, uniquely beautiful. Just individual expressions of art everywhere I turn. It's rich. That's why they hate us. Assad says, hashtag, we will not suffer in silence. We will not be shamed into silence or flatness of our lineage ever again. ADOS, ADOS, AD. Okay, let me calm down. Is here and rising. She didn't put all them ADOSs. That's me. Hold on. I need my mop, y'all. Even the fan ain't working right now. Lord have mercy. Okay, Sleepy CS, thank you for joining the live, my love. Many of those so-called Hispanics are white people that despise the non-white Hispanics. They are not a cohesive group at all. No. And the it's just dreadful what's happening. They were made white like the Irish were made white, like the Jews were made white. Okay? So I'm not trying to run from ADOS-ness. I love the skin I'm in. I don't care how much of a trial this complexion can be on us as a collective, because truthfully, it's never been used against me in any harmful way. Never been called out of my name. I get love because I am love. How about that? So are you. So that's not my point though, right? My point in fighting for ADOS is to close the egregious racial wealth gap. Nobody else can tell me how to do that without reparations. Okay. And yes, claiming white gives them privilege. As a matter of fact, if you were passing as white, you're not entitled to reparations because whiteness was your privilege. So if you've been writing white on census and carrying on, that's a criteria. ADOS101.com, look it up. Our history lesson starts at home, in my opinion. You're absolutely right. We love Angel. Oh, I love you, Black and Strong. ADOS, do you play chess? Russell 5454. No, I don't play chess. I need to learn it though. Anywho, okay, family, that's enough of that. It's story time, family. Oh, well, it is what it is. This may be a 2-hour show, All y'all got to do is listen, okay? And I'm glad y'all love listening to me. Angela, I want to see A.M. Joy's face when NBC drops her because her usefulness has run its course. Oh, that's coming from many of them, Debonair One. Many of them. Okay? Because the ADOS has wrecked this election. They've all worn out their usefulness to keep us quiet and in the closet. They all gonna get their walking papers. Okay. Let me see if I can do this without much light, because when I turn this light on, it's so blinding. All right, family, buckle up, buttercups. I hope you have your libations. It's story time. 2 more dead presidents. And the reason why we do this, family, is if you don't know the history of how these dead presidents have worked in opposition to your even thriving in America, you're bound to repeat it in this election cycle. It's a little too dark for me. I'm going to try to turn this light away because it's just dreadful the way it washes me out. But I need some light. So tonight we've got I went too far. Franklin D. Roosevelt and Herbert Hoover. So like I said, for those of you who are new to the Miseducation of the ADOS in America with 3Ks book club series, thank you, Dorothy, for being ready. Yeah, guys, get your little libations and just, I comment in between. It's imperative that we know that there's never been a president that's been for ADOS. Everything that we've gotten was by force. The way reparations will be as well. And we're blessed because unlike our ancestors, we've got social media to give them that work when they come for ADOS. I could put the hive on Don Lemon, D.L. Hughley, Sheila Jackson Lee, Roland Martin. All I got to do is say ADOS hive attack, and we're in there strong, getting them all the way together. So we've got that advantage, and we need all hands on deck to do that. You don't even have to be in the movement to help us when we ask you to make dials. Thanks to all the country that dialed in to help us get the study done for California. We are here to do the same for you. Each one reach for one, right? We lock in. So I read this book, Prejudential by Margaret Kimberly. Oh, Lord. Okay, you got to get this book. They're very short chapters, but she's very succinct about the fuckery that these presidents have done in the name of abolitionists, in some instances, against ADOS the minute they run for office. They immediately become Confederates when they do this kind of nonsense, okay? And want to oppress you and tether you to the bottom for that white vote. So you must know your history so you're not bound to repeat it. And then I'll pray us out. Just a few short pages. Now, Herbert Hoover was 1929 to 1933. Herbert Hoover's family were abolitionist Iowa Quakers, which what family we've learned doesn't mean much. They can become that, go south and run for office, and all of that abolitionist nonsense is out the door. They're not really true to the game, okay? When his parents died and left him orphaned at the age of 10, he was raised by his uncle who had run an underground railroad station in his hometown. But Hoover's public life gave no indication of his descent from people who believed in racial justice. This is what we have found out about all of the presidents that were reared in abolitionists and then turned 360 degrees to hurt ADOS in the process. Hoover studied geology at Stanford University and worked in mining in Australia and China as a young man. Those travel experiences did not give him an open mind about non-white people. His observations of Australian Aboriginals were blatantly racist. In a letter to a friend, he wrote, quote, "They have a devil who is not a spirit but a real live nigger, who acts as executioner for the tribe and is therefore the medicine man's partner," close quote. In his book, Principles of Mining, he continued in that vein, saying that, quote, "Asiatics and Negroes were of low mental order and that one white man equals from 2 to 3 of the colored races, even in the simplest forms of mine work such as shoveling." Bigoted beliefs such as these were acceptable at the time, and they had real-life consequences, especially when upheld by powerful people. Me speaking. Isn't that true of this narrative that the race soldiers like to use? I was afraid. I thought the cell phone was a gun. How they execute us because of bigoted beliefs have real life consequences, especially when held by powerful people. They drop the drugs and guns in our communities, and then the author of the 94 crime bill, segregationist Jim Crow Joe, a crime bill that he wanted his own name on, tells you on the Senate hearing floor, I don't care how you got there. I don't care that we put you there. What about my mama and my grandmama? Lock them up, they're predators. Bigoted beliefs such as these were acceptable at the time, at this time, and they had real life consequences, especially when held by powerful people. This is what's happened in the hands of our government. On so many levels, too many to count because we're close to 2 hours, so I'm gotta hurry up. Hoover was Secretary of Commerce under Calvin Coolidge and was personally responsible for the criminal treatment of Black Mississippi Delta residents during the 1927 flood. Hoover continued the lily-white policies that were employed in an ultimately futile effort to attract white Southerners to the Republican Party. His nomination of North Carolina segregationist John Parker to the Supreme Court was seen as a direct attack on Black people. Parker had once said, quote, "The participation of the Negro in politics is a source of evil and danger to both races." Even the accommodationist Robert Moton, whom Hoover had hired to lead the Colored Advisory Commission, formed to investigate allegations of abuses following the 1927 flood, opposed the nomination, telling Hoover that he could not support a man who, quote, "so openly declared his contempt." Hoover's response to opposition was particularly vicious, as it has been for Ice Cube, as it has been for the ADOS movement. White House aides called upon Congress and FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover to investigate the NAACP for possible communist ties when that group led the anti-Parker effort. The same way they're trying to COINTELPRO, the ADOS movement, calling us Russian bots. You see the correlation between then and now? Hoover was furious when the nomination was defeated in the Senate. I'm sorry. Hoover was furious when the nomination was defeated in the Senate. He never forgave the defeat and lambasted those Republicans who joined in the no vote, saying that they, quote, "ran like white mice," close quote, in the face of criticism. But you don't see any pushback from the Democrats, from Trump trying to replace Ginsburg, right? Whom we've been voting for, right? After Hoover lost to Franklin Roosevelt in the 1932 election, he suddenly became interested in the fight against lynching. He had said little on the subject when he was president and had the power to stop mob violence. Hello, Barack Obama. You gave us an executive order for Blue Lives Matter called the Blue Alert Law, but you did nothing with the executive pen to stop the lynching of the ADOS, right? Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch said when our brothers was being executed by the race soldiers all over the country that there was nothing to see. As you sang Al Green and Negro spirituals at the funerals. But you didn't use that executive pen to give us reparations. You didn't use that executive pen to protect us from these lynch mobs called the cops with 3 Ks. You didn't use the executive pen to dismantle qualified immunity. I don't expect it of Trump, so don't come for me. But I expected it of the president who I helped to get into office for 2 terms with my vote. We still don't have anti-lynching laws. It's 2020. He had said little on the subject when he was president and had the power to stop mob violence. But the lame duck now imagined himself directing, quote, "the modern expedition through aerial and motor forces of federal troops located at all important centers throughout the country." As Biden said in one of our fallen soldiers by the race soldiers, don't shoot to kill, just maim them, shoot them in the legs. Maybe they'll get lucky and survive it like Jacob Blake, 7 shots to the back. His imaginary effort was certainly laughable, as is Biden's. But his successor wouldn't do any better. Franklin D. Roosevelt, and then I'll pray us out. 1933 to 1945. Franklin Delano Roosevelt benefited from comparisons with his predecessors. To say that he was a better president for Black people than Herbert Hoover does not mean that he lived up to his reputation as a groundbreaking liberal, however. It's true that he served in office during the Great Depression and World War II. He changed the office of the presidency and Americans' expectations of it forever. It is no exaggeration to call him a larger-than-life figure when his portrait adorned so many American homes during his time in office. But America is a country of low political expectations. Franklin Roosevelt, hello, ADOS, the lineage who still want to continue the lesser of two evil two-step shuffle to our peril. Franklin Roosevelt has received far more credit for his treatment of Black Americans than he is actually due. Even though he and his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, were beloved by Black people, both during and after his time in office. The Democratic Party was a party of the segregated South. The politics of that region had changed little since the days of the Civil War. White Southerners were almost uniformly Democrats. Black voters had little reason to leave what they felt were the safer confines of the Republican Party in 1932. Roosevelt had served in the segregationist Wilson administration and chose Texan John Nance Garner as his running mate. Northern Democrats, I have to stand corrected. I said 71% of Blacks voted for Teddy Roosevelt. Scratch that. Misinformation. 71% of Blacks voted for Roosevelt. Franklin Delano. Okay? My apologies, family. Roosevelt had served in the segregationist Wilson administration and chose Texan John Nance Garner as his running mate. Northern Democrats like FDR depended on white Southerners and happily used the need to appeal to these constituents to excuse their own inaction on civil rights legislation. FDR never supported anti-lynching legislation. It was convenient for him to say that he wanted to help, but had his hands tied by the South. Roosevelt banned Black reporters from his press conferences from the beginning of his administration and used Southern political power as a convenient excuse. Reminds me of when they got rid of all of the Black reporters under Obama's tenure. After Obama left office, he issued a tepid statement that condemned lynching, but only after 2 white men were murdered by a San Jose, California mob. Future Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall told a revealing story about Roosevelt's phony concern for Black people. Marshall went to Attorney General Francis Biddle to seek his help in the case of a Black man accused of murdering a white sheriff in Virginia. Biddle called the president with the intention of discussing the matter and asked Marshall to listen to the conversation on another phone. He was stunned to hear Roosevelt say, quote, "I warned you not to call me again about any of Eleanor's niggas. Call me one more time and you are fired." Close quote. Both Roosevelts used Black people in photo ops to appear as if they were taking Black people's concerns seriously. Mary McLeod Bethune, president of historically Black Bethune-Cookman College and founder of the National Conference of Negro Women, became one of the go-to people who helped the Roosevelts appear more progressive than they actually were. At a time when Black people were ignored and left without legal protections, it is understandable that the sight of Bethune having tea with Mrs. Roosevelt would be a cause for celebration and admiration. Though she did not run for elective office, Eleanor Roosevelt was a politician in her own right, and she used those skills at opportune moments to carry out public relations campaigns. Her decision to resign from the Daughters of the American Revolution in 1939 may have been a decision of principle, but it also showed her political acumen. The DAR barred opera singer Marian Anderson and other Black performers from their stage at DAR Constitutional Hall. Daughters of the American Revolution is what that stands for. Roosevelt resigned from the organization and arranged for Anderson to sing at the Lincoln Memorial on Easter Sunday in 1939, skillfully making her point without appearing to be too close to Anderson. Those liberals, those are the ones you've got to watch. The ones that smile in your face. See, I like my races straight up, no chaser, so I can see them. She didn't attend the concert herself, and she referred to the incident in her syndicated column, quote, My Day, close quote, without mentioning Anderson by name. The First Lady knew the power of her office, and she knew that dispensing crumbs at the right moment to a desperate and oppressed people would give her more credit than she deserved. She penned a now famous article in the Negro Digest in 1943. In, quote, Freedom, promise or fact, close quote, she opined that, quote, if I were a Negro today, I think I would have moments of great bitterness, close quote. The acknowledgement may seem good until she added, quote, I think, however, that I would realize that if my ancestors had never left Africa, we would be worse off as natives today. President Roosevelt used much the same strategy in his dealings with Black people. He never made a direct reference to Black people or to civil rights legislation. As president during the Depression, he brought about basic legislation such as the Social Security Act, which helped all Americans, akin to author of the 94 crime bill, segregationist Jim Crow, Joe Biden. Class-based policies don't lift race. It don't fix race. We're still on the bottom. When you take our reparations and make immigrants whole and white folks whole before ADOS. As president during the Depression, he brought about basic legislation such as the Social Security Act, which helped all Americans. But even then, he acquiesced to the rest of the White People's Party, deliberately excluding agriculture and domestic work from Social Security protection. Did you hear that? He acquiesced to the rest of the White People's Party by deliberately excluding agriculture and domestic work from Social Security protection. Who were the domestics and agriculture of his era? ADOS. And the blue checks want to drag Ice Cube for partnering with the ADOS to get reparations in the trillions over multi-generations. The puckery. At the time, most Black, and this is the problem I have with folks still worshiping Jesus and Obama. ADOS, the lineage, doesn't understand how oppressive that man was to ADOS as he created 1 million white millionaires during his tenure or more. Someone said it was more like 4 million. And we lost over 43% of our wealth under a man that we helped to get into office. 2 terms. And we are at George Floyd 846. At the time, most Black people still lived in southern states and were largely employed as domestic servants and farm workers. Even in the North, most Black women were employed by white households. Black people may have loved FDR for passing the Social Security Act, but most of them couldn't benefit from it until amendments were enacted in 1950 and 1954. Any gains accrued to Black people during the New Deal era came about because of their own political action. ADOS. Not the largesse of the Roosevelt administration, not the CBC, not the Don Lemons, not the D.L. Hugleys, not the Roly-Poly Martins, not the Joy-Ann Reeds. ADOS is how this gets done. We are David tackling this Goliath for the liberation and the freedom and becoming American for the American descendants of chattel slavery that built all the wealth every other group eats from, while we're tethered to the bottom as the anchor in this country. That's my tribe. That's our tribe. Join us. A. Philip Randolph, president of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, instigated one such gain when he threatened to march on Washington in 41 if the administration did not enact civil rights legislation for Black defense workers. On June 25th, FDR signed Executive Order 8802, which instituted the Fair Employment Practices Committee. Randolph's march was scheduled to take place just 1 week later, and he called it off but did not disband his organization, the March on Washington movement. His decision was a wise one. In 1943, Executive Order 9346 gave the FEPC a full-time staff and greater enforcement powers. It is safe to assume that this would not have happened had Randolph not continued his challenge to the Roosevelt administration. Our emancipation would not have happened had 500 slaves not broke away and stole away from our enslavement to storm the Union camps. If this is going to happen, it's going to be by our might, grassroots. The old slaveocracy still held sway in the 20th century. Black persons were counted as full citizens and no longer as only 3/5 of one, as they had from the 1787 Constitutional Convention until the 14th Amendment repealed the compromise in 1868. But they still live by the whims of people who consider them not fully human. To this day, they don't see us as human. When they gunned down Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Jacob Blakes, Elijah McCain, and too many more to name in this show. You see, we don't need them to learn how not to shoot white folks. Why do they need sensitivity training around not shooting Black folks? ADOS, specifically. So bump all this nonsense. They're talking about more training. Nobody needs to train them not to shoot their own. And their own be wilding out. We be running away for our lives, and they unload 30 bullets in you. Or 8 bullets while you in your home chilling with your boo. And we still can't get no justice. They arrested 2 white officers, or fired them, for killing a porcupine. And we can't get any convictions, any charges for the race soldiers that shot Breonna Taylor in her home. They don't see us as human. Still to this day, and we in 2020. Let me find my place, y'all. Roosevelt may have had a so-called Black cabinet, but he was never seen publicly with any of these individuals. I'm sorry, let me back that up. The old slaveocracy still held sway in the 20th century. Okay, I did that part. Okay. So-called Black cabinet, but he was never seen publicly with any of these individuals. Photo ops with Black people fell under the First Lady's purview. The Black Cabinet, also called the Federal Council of Negro Affairs, gave a semi-official status to Blacks working in federal agencies. It was important only to a point. It certainly benefited those individuals fortunate enough to be in it, but it didn't change the Democrats' allegiance to white Southerners. Under FDR, Black people stayed in a familiar position of having to be happy with crumbs, the way they want us to be happy with crumbs right now. Hello, Kamala Harris. I'm not doing anything specifically for Black people. No. As she clutches her invisible ski-wee bison pearls. And Joe Biden telling you nothing will fundamentally change for your group. Crumbs. But you're supposed to run out here and weaponize the only commodity you've got, your vote, to unseat Trump, not the ADOS movement. Where anybody, I'm Green Party at the top, vote Democrat down ballot, the most progressive I can find. I encourage everyone, this is the part everybody can play in changing the course of this Titanic that we're on. We can only do it by our vote. We have no money collectively. We share less than $700 billion between us. Most of that is used to live on, contrary to popular beliefs that we buy too many Jordans and do too much hair weave. It certainly benefited those individuals fortunate enough to be in it, but it didn't change the Democrats' elite. Okay, under FDR, Black people benefited from Roosevelt's programs in the same way that whites did. There was no effort to redress grievances that were unique to the group. Sounds familiar. No to reparations, your first Black king and white president tells you. Nothing for your specific group, says Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Obama. When Obama did that, he made this fight for the ADOS movement like trying to lift a boulder of exponential proportion up a very, very steep hill. Because it gives all these other presidents that follow him permission. I mean, Kamala didn't even wait till she got into office. She didn't even wait to earn the vote before she was out of her mouth talking about what she ain't going to do for ADOS. Franklin Roosevelt was beloved by Black people, but only because he was a master at good public relations and because he made the right enemies among his own class. The tendency to love some presidents who did little for them that was substantive was and is a constant for Black Americans. On Thursday, family, Harry S. Truman. That might be the only one because that's long. We'll do Harry S. Truman, 1945 to 1953. He'll be the only one because it's a little lengthier. It's about two of these chapters in one. And with that said, family, we're at 2:08. I want to thank you so very much. Let me turn this off. For joining the live. I want to thank you for being the wind beneath my wings. I want to thank you for giving me a reason to stay in this fight, to use my voice for ADOS. I thank each and every one of you just for the ways you support me on this channel. I don't have enough thanks in me. I don't even have enough words to convey how grateful I am for your participation, for your chats, for being my co-host, and for showing up when I go live. I appreciate you more than I have the words to convey. I want to pray you out and give you a covering because it gives me peace of mind. So before we part company, let me remind you, family, that the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever ADOS and its allies are, God truly is family because guess what? You are the face of God. You're the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. Until Thursday, family, you go out here in these streets and you act like you know who you are. And you make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening and next couple of days until we meet again. I love you, Black. I love you, strong. Bye, family. Peace.